Hey, welcome back. All right, in this tutorial, we are going to talk about the game design document, or GDD. Um, I know we're a few videos in, and as I said at the very beginning of this tutorial series, typically you would do, or at least start doing your brainstorming and some of the initialization and development of your game design document, your GDD, probably at the beginning. But because this is a beginning tutorial, I wanted to get you introduced into Unreal Engine, understand some of the things that we're talking about and doing, so that when it came time to actually start planning your game and some of the assets and the look that you wanted, you'd have a better understanding about what it is we're trying to do. So the time has come. Now we are there. We're at the point where we want to go ahead and start planning the feel and the look of our game. Now, I'm still going to be doing blueprints for you, and we're still going to be creating blueprints together with kind of an idea of what the game's mechanics are going to be, but the look and the feel of the game is going to be completely up to you. And you can even tweak some of the blueprints and some of the things that we're doing to make them work differently in your game than the way I'm doing it. So, let me go ahead and kind of talk a little bit through that, what I mean by that. So here, this is my demo world that I've started out developing some of these blueprints for you so that we can kind of see how things work before we go through the process of doing it. But it's very disjointed. I just sort of grabbed some models I had around to make some of these things work. So by that, I mean, we did the health one, right? And my example one before the health had a different kind of model in here. And then we made this model in Unreal Engine when we did the health pickup. But these coins are a sketch fab or a fab download, so they're different coins. The door is actually part of the starter content pack. So are these walls. Over here, these platforms, which we haven't started working on the platforms yet, but we will be shortly. This platform I made in Unreal Engine and just grabbed some random material I had and threw it on there. This is a model I had on Sketchfab, or Fab rather, and modified it in Blender by taking out some of the other models that were on it so that we could just get the platform and use it sort of as a lift, a sci-fi style platform. And then same with these here. These are just some general model that kind of have a sci-fi look to them. The cannons over here are sort of an old school rusty and brass or copper colored material on them to give them kind of an old look. And then, just kind of a mishmash of everything in this scene. So we're going to want to look at some continuity. And that's where the game design document really comes in. And I've got some examples here to show you. On these two websites, I have these two websites up because they both talk about how to write a game design document. I'll give you these links so that you can reference them because they're kind of a step-by-step through here. But if you look at both of these, they both take a different approach to the very same game design document. Why is that? Well, because as they both say, there's no real set method to a game design document. The important thing about a game design document, it is a place for you, to the designer or the design team, to write down your concepts and your ideas so that you can refer back to it later, so that there's continuity, so that everybody understands what the big picture is, and to help keep you kind of in the scope of the game. Because as you're developing the game, you're going to start having some good ideas, and you want to try these, hey, let's try this thing out. And next thing you know, your scope has grown so large on your game that you never complete your game. And there's actually a couple, in this one, there's a couple of people who talk about their game designs when they were creating a game, and that very thing happened. So it's a good kind of point to read through these. But, again, AAA studios all the way down to a single person in an indie game studio probably should use a GDD. Some do not, and some will argue that they don't need a GDD, and that's fine, but they're probably writing down or at least tracking some of the things that they're doing. So although they don't think of it as a GDD, since there's no formal design to a GDD, it's kind of a GDD. But anyway, that's an argument for another day. If you take a look through this website, you'll see that there's some very specific things this one recommends. an overview vision, gameplay core, so narratives, all the big topics here to be able to create your game, as well as the project planning piece of it. So this one's a pretty good one. It actually has a lot of things to think about, and right here, the 7 steps, 7 stages of game design. This is where we're kind of jumping in right now. Although we've done a little bit, we might actually call it pre-production. We're actually in the ideation stage now. So brainstorming and redefining your core idea, coming up with your concepts, and defining your design pillars and your target audience. So this rollerball game that we're going to create, the target audience really is other game designers and your peers right now, because we're not going to sell this game. It's really a learning platform. So we're going to go a little bit crazy with some things and maybe do some things that you wouldn't normally do when you're trying to design a game. But as far as the target audience, think about your friends. You want your friends to play your game. You want your parents and other people to try out your game. You want to use it maybe as a demo of your capabilities. That might be your target audience. And then we'll get into some of these other things as we move along, okay? We'll talk about launch and post-launch. We will build the game out at the end so that you have a game that you can deliver using a thumb drive or some other drive system that you can download it off of. Now, we are concentrating on the GDD. Okay, this is the game design document. It deals with concept, gameplay, and the story art, of course. And then there's also one called the TDD. We're not really going to get hugely into that, and that's because for us, we're a smaller team. Sometimes the TDD actually kind of rolls into the GDD, sort of combines into it, and we're going to kind of take that approach a little bit, because we will talk about some of the technical design stuff that goes in there, specifically since we're going to be doing blueprints. We'll be talking about what the blueprints look like, where they go, how they work, our system architecture, and things like that. So there will be some TDD, but it'll be kind of embedded into our GDD. I'm going to show you an example of what I've got in the next tutorial. Okay, so what else do we have in here? There's a lot of good stuff. I recommend you reading through this. The game design document is really, like I keep saying, it is a place for you to write down your good ideas and for you to start doing and capturing what it is you want your game to be. Okay, so as we look through this, they also have some examples. I'm going to pull up a couple of examples I have, and I'm also got a website that you can go to pull down a lot more examples of what games other game companies have used to create their games with. As you can see here, in 2023, they did a survey about game design documents. You can see that a lot of AAAs use them, and a lot of indie developers use them as well, in some form or fashion. Okay, so again, this one kind of goes over the same stuff on this website. I'm going to give you a link to both of these so you can kind of peruse through them. It takes a little bit of a different approach about how the game design documents laid out, and that's okay, because like I said, there is no really set a game design document format. What there is something that needs to be useful for yourself, and if you're working with a team, for your team, and if you're working at a studio, they probably already have a format that you're going to have to follow. So get familiar with it and understand what it is and where it's at, so that you can refer to it. Because as you're making your art, as you're making putting the models in there, as you're doing the various things that need to happen to create the game, if you have a GDD, it's going to tell you what those should look like, how the game should feel, the sounds, all of that into the game. So that GDD is what's going to keep all of you on the same sheet of music, so that you can make sure that you're creating the same game, and it doesn't look totally different when you go from one level to the next, from one designer to the next. Okay, so here, this is the site I was talking about. On this site, if you walk through here, you'll see that there are a lot of different GDDs available out there, so you can peruse through, maybe find some of your favorite games in here. There's a lot of them in here, 58 of them, and kind of see what they did for their GDD. And there's some on here that never got created as well, so some that were canceled. So I have a couple demos here. This one from 1995. It's very much a document, so it's like a PDF, right? They did it in some word processing software back in the 90s. And again, it follows the general overview. So what's the game? What is the intent of this game? What should it look like? The action, the graphics, some gameplay concepts in here. And then a short story. So, sort of like your elevator pitch. of what the story is, because the game has a story. So what is that story? And then that'll help drive the feel of the game and all of the other things that happen in the game. So, and then get into locations inside the game, and different things that are in the game, like the vehicles, the weapons, the characters. This document even has the concept art in it, so you can see there's some different types of concept art. This document is meant to capture as much detail as it can so that it can be used as a reference for everybody on the game development team. Now, if we jump over to this one, this is from Bungie from 2018, so a lot newer. And this one is specifically for one purpose. It's to make sure that the HUD features for Halo 3 get worked out. So it's a UI specific, and it covers the HUD only. Not all the other gameplay, not the story, just how the HUD is supposed to work within the game. And they talk about some of the issues they have with it, some of the overview that they want to get with it. A lot of good information in here about a HUD design. So if you're really wanting to make get caught up on your HUD and make it a lot more than what we're making it in our game, maybe take a look at this one and to kind of peruse through it, see some of the things they've talked about. One of the things we really haven't gotten into is with modern games. They can be played on, a lot of them can be played on very small computer screens, tablet screens, phone screens, all the way up to, your large computer screens, because this was 720p back in the 2018. But anyway, lots of other stuff that goes on into just this one. This is 29 pages of just the HUD, so pretty cool. There is a template. I'll make sure that you have access to this template here. And if you needed a template to go by, something that helps you conceptualize what your game, your GDD should look like. This one also says pitch template. So another thing about GDDs is that GDDs can also be used to help pitch game concepts. So you may put together a slide presentation, or today, we're using more online things, since so many game studios and game people that are working on a game are no longer, same place in the geographically located. They're dispersed around the country and even around the world. Online software that we can use that allows us to collaborate and create a game. So some of that stuff is already built into some of that. But still, this is document that you can refer to help you maybe get some of your tiling on your whatever your preferred collaboration software is. You could use things like Google Doc or Canvas or Canva. So anyway, this is just a good reference document. You can look at these as references as well. Any of these that might seem to be something that might be more towards the type of game you're wanting to design in the future. Real quick, this is Milanote. This is what I use for putting together my game design documents. I'm going to go more into depth in this in the next tutorial, how to use Milanote, where to get it. So in the next tutorial, we'll kind of go over this. We'll talk more specifically about the game design for the Rollerball game and what I put into it for that. All right, so hopefully you found this short enough and interesting enough for you to go out and do a little bit more research into GDDs. But generally, just a GDD is just a bunch of notes that you put together and organize into specified captions so that you know where the information is that you need. You can go find it, and then if you need to share it with a team, they know where it is, they can find it, and you're all on the same sheet of music. There's no specified format. It's just a tool. It's supposed to be a living document that you, if you're a lone developer, or your team, if you're working as a team, can use to help create a better game that will actually get finished. So instead of having, scope creep as you move along and all these good ideas come in, this will hopefully keep you and your team focused on what the actual game is supposed to be, and that means that hopefully you'll get it done. Because one of the largest problems is not getting a game done because you just get lost in the design. All right, so again, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comment section. I'll get back to you. Also, if you like this video, please like it. And thanks for playing. I'll see you next time. Oh, don't forget to subscribe.